Welcome to the Education in Isolation podcast with me, Angela Connell, where we will explore the challenges of businesses moving from a face-to-face training mode to an online training environment. Many businesses have been caught off guard by the COVID-19 pandemic, but the situation is proving to be a catalyst for new possibilities and opportunities for the training industry. Let me and my guests help you make the most of these opportunities and to navigate the transition so that you and your organisation come out stronger and more resilient than when you went in. Education is the answer and you are the leader. Hi and welcome to Education in Isolation. Today we're interviewing Ben. Ben, give us a little bit of background about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thanks, Angela. My name's Ben Walker. I run an accounting firm called Inspire, and we're based in Brisbane and work with clients sort of all around Australia. I guess we've been going for just over 7 years now, and we really love helping our clients, navigate the tax aspects of things, but also what we've really been, finding people need a lot of help with at the moment is sort of navigating through 2020 and the challenges that have been thrown at us through that. And what we're really proud of is saving our clients over $10 million in tax so far. So that's been pretty cool.
Yes, I saw a celebration of that on your social media recently about hitting that mark. Yep. That's a very exciting mark to hit.
That's it, and it's climbing quickly at the moment, actually. So, we're in tax planning time, which is April, May, June of every financial year. I wouldn't be surprised in a month or two if we're at 12 mil.
Because it's been like the busy. So this is your busy time of the year, and now you're even busier with all of this COVID-19.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got tax planning season, and then we've got the JobKeeper and COVID-19. But it's good though. Like we're getting through it.
So, what has been your biggest challenge since COVID-19?
Great question. And I think one of the biggest challenges we got in the early days is, we work with business owners, and when we heard, or when it got serious in about mid-March, we had a lot of business owners saying, hey, what do I do? I've heard these stimulus measures come out, help us. And so we had, almost 200 clients sort of reach out and say, hey, we need all this help. And we hadn't even had hours to process the media releases from the government. So one of our biggest challenges was actually almost taking new knowledge that no one knew how to, call it like the stimulus measures or JobKeeper, that sort of stuff, breaking it down for our clients and then teaching them about it, and then also helping them sort of apply it in their own business. There was some days where our team couldn't get any work done because we're just receiving so many calls for help. And so one of our biggest challenges was dealing with that massively increased workload overnight.
So what was the so that was a hurdle that you had. How did you overcome that?
So we kind of had a choice, and we wanted to be as fair as we could to all our clients and help them in the best way possible. So we met as a team and basically put together an approach to the stimulus releases of making sure we're always on the front foot. I remember sitting there on a Sunday afternoon and ScoMo went live on Facebook, and I was like, all right, bang. And I was sort of documenting what he was saying, what that meant to business owners, and we wanted to be, within 24 hours, report back to our clients and our audience of what's relevant to them as business owners. And so that's what we were doing. We hosted webinars literally the day after announcements and hoped we had time to sort of work out what was going on before then. It was a very short, we almost feel like journalists at the moment with our reporting cycle on what's happening, and just making sure we're massively on the front foot to our clients and sort of approaching it in a one-to-many approach in the first instance, which our accountants were getting the same question asked over and over again. So we thought, let's answer them at a high level first, and then the advice one-to-one is actually in a more personalised way than sort of fielding the same question over and over.
And so how did you achieve that when you were getting the same questions asked over and over again? What did you put in place to resolve that?
Yeah, so one of the things were webinars, but we also had this plan, which probably would have only been released sort of midway through 2020 or towards the end, where we were looking to take a lot of our training and knowledge online through online courses, and so the date for that got brought forward,
got fast-tracked,
and we. Absolutely. And so we ended up getting that online in about 48 hours. I think we went from no course to the webinar live, the webinar recording, and then setting this big document to help our clients through the process, all up literally in 48 hours. That was a very, very intense
couple of
days.
That's amazing. So did you already have the platform built?
We had the sort of the backbone, and we'd done literally, like, we'd signed up to the online course provider, done the branding kind of thing, put the colours in, and literally sort of just had that sitting there for a few weeks, and then the 48 hours was actually filling it with content, building our COVID-19, we call it the business continuity planning course, so make sure we get through the other side, and then we filled that with its sort of base level of content in 48 hours. So downloadable PDFs, Word docs, recordings of our webinar, next steps for people to access, more information on what the government's released, things like that. So yeah, and we had a lot of support for it too. So we had different people offer, perspective on HR and legal considerations, and also insurance. People were saying, "Oh, can I claim on insurance for different things?" And so we had all sorts of people provide fact sheets and info to help sort of build that out, which was awesome.
Okay, so it was like you just had a whole heap of, because I could just imagine in 48 hours all the planning of having to put together a course and work out what the structure would be and things like that. That's a lot to do in a short amount of time, and it's great to see that you were able to do that, and it is possible to do that.
Definitely.
Yeah, because we've had some people that we've been working with who have struggled with that process and getting themselves online. So kudos to you for getting that turned around so quickly. But it was that challenge of, okay, so how do we know all this work's going to come in, and we're going to need to reduce that down, and the best way we can do that is by automating the process. So we're answering the same questions.
Like I remember a team meeting we had, Monday at 4:00, and everyone's exhausted because they've just spent, calling back, and they say, "Oh, I've got 4 phone calls to return still." And it's like, wow, okay, we need to get on top of this. And if our own clients are answering it, the other part of why we did it is we can also help the market or the people following us in a massively leveraged way. And that also protects against our potential downside of this COVID if we were to, lose business, or, our growth plans were thrown off a bit. Well, this is to counter that as well. So it kind of achieved 2 really powerful goals for us.
I know my top priority was I needed to make sure that we kept our clients going, which would be the same thing with what you were doing. So how do you keep them sustainable?
Yeah, absolutely. And, double down on your value that you give and that sort of thing.
So what has been your biggest achievement through all of this?
Well, maybe even building on the course, I didn't know how it was going to go, but I think at last count we had close to about 350 to 400 people in our course, which is just obscene. I thought even a couple of hundred would have been huge. So that's been amazing. Also, in response to our webinars as well, our previous webinars, if we had 30 or 40 people live,
that was pretty exciting.
That was an achievement. But we've had, I think we had a webinar, our JobKeeper webinar had over 500 people register and close to 200 people sort of show up. And so, we've kind of had to learn how to deal with those sort of numbers in an interesting way, where, now we don't go into a accounting focused webinar without having literally our whole accounting team on there answering Q&A. And we go through literally 120 questions in the background that they're just churning away, trying to help people with. So, it's been fun in that sense, but
challenging,
tiring. Yeah.
I know the first education and isolation webinar we had over 100 on the call, and there was me and one of my other team members answering questions. It was like bang, bang, bang. So I can understand where that's coming from. And I thought the webinar process is actually a very good one, and very good to get in their face and get their questions answered as soon as possible.
Yeah,
it's where your
absolutely.
clients would have been. So let's look at, what was that process and the strategies you put in place? You said you did it in 48 hours. What was it? How did you plan that out? What did you do?
It was kind of like we were being, I don't know what the word is, almost being chased by having to respond. And so, I'd been learning a little bit about the online course side of things, and we'd done webinars in the past. And so, all I thought was, if we're sort of sharing the same structured content, then let's work out what are the chapters, what are the, if we're doing an online course, what sections of businesses do people need to consider? And so, all we did was kind of go, well, you need to consider what you do with your customers. So let's work out what we need to give information on around that. What do you need to consider with suppliers? How do you negotiate with your landlord? Different things like that. What do we need to consider from a team perspective? And even that is just so detailed, with standing people down if you're forced to close, or HR and legal issues as well. Like it's just a huge kettle of fish. But we basically mind mapped the whole, everything we need to sort of consider from our perspective. And then we started, building checklists and documents and a webinar, and to sort of to run people through all those things. So
then identifying all of those steps and what you would need, what the client would need. I suppose it's putting your feet in their shoes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So what do we need to consider here? What do we need to do practically from a communication perspective as well? Like, who do we need to talk to? Huge.
There was a lot. And I could just imagine what that brainstorming session would have been like. Did you contact your clients to find out, or was it based on the questions that you were getting?
Yeah, so great question. So So one of the things we did is we shared a Google Doc between the whole team, and we said, look, let's write down all the questions we're getting, and highlight the ones if they're the same one over and over again. So that gave us a really good platform. And then, from a financial perspective, some business owners might not know what to ask. So, and we kind of broke it down into, customers, suppliers, team as sort of the main three stakeholders. What do you need to consider from cash flow and bank funding? What's available to you from a government stimulus package side of things as well. And so, some of the questions around that were obviously the questions coming from clients, but then we went out and, shared some of our best practice tips on debtors and managing people who owe you money, giving people some things to consider there, or negotiating with your suppliers for extended terms, or a big thing was with landlords and asking for rent relief for a few months, especially with clients who are in gyms or beauty, where they literally had to shut their doors overnight. The government forced them to do that, and so kind of offering help how we could with that.
Yeah. So one of the things that we recommend to our clients is, ask your clients, if you could wave a magic wand right now, what would it be that you could provide to them? So you actually, like industry consultation is huge for the training industry, but overall industry consultation and your client, getting to your clients and actually finding out what their needs are. You were in the perfect place where they were actually coming to you and looking for solutions, but that doesn't always happen. So sometimes you need to go out and actually ask. And so that was really good. And I like how you've mapped it out and worked it out. Where do you think you'll be with the training in the future? What's your plans?
Yeah, so we've got a number of other online courses we're looking to sort of launch over the next few months, and so and that's sort of training or one-to-one advice that we've been giving beforehand, but we're going to do it in a bit more of a leveraged way. At the same time, I personally get really fulfilled by delivering workshops and also even one-to-one advice. So I don't think that's going anywhere. One of the examples is some retreats we ran last year focused on helping people grow their wealth. And the first two were at the Gold Coast, and it was like a couple of days away. We had people flying in from Sydney, Melbourne, driving down from Brisbane to attend, and we spent a couple of days together going through some content around wealth creation and building that out for your future. And so that's where my sort of personal passion and focus will be sort of put, including as soon as these restrictions are lifted, I want to run one of those retreats, because we did have them planned, and so I think. But we're going to supplement the face-to-face now with online, and potentially even in a more leveraged way, where if you're looking to work with us or want some simpler questions answered, then we can do that through a leveraged online course versus one-to-one, which for the client that offers a cheaper price point, but also saves us on spreading us thin. So we kind of get the benefit of helping more people through that.
And it's good because they get to know you first, so they learn who you are and how you work before you go out and meet them. So it's a good way to introduce you and your company as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Because the way I see the future with training is that we will never be the same again. But I do believe we still will do face-to-face training, but we can give so much more with complementing it with online training.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go and rewatch it instead of if you see something live, you got to remember it all, and that often doesn't happen.
And that's what's been the great thing about having the Zoom like training. I've done a lot of Zoom training, and the great thing is that it's recorded and you can get to watch it again. So it could be that our live events are going to be recorded, and your clients can then go back and re-watch it. It'll also give the opportunity, like one thing that I've really seen is the opportunity you're not localized market anymore. Your market is so much broader across Australia and possibly the world. So there's lots of opportunities, because you would have Australians who are doing business overseas, I'd assume.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And some of them go and live in those countries. They do business for an extended time, and
and they'd miss out on all of that face-to-face stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. So now they'll be able to access it. So I think it's awesome. So how do you see your whole business operating in 12 months' time? If you can look into a crystal ball into the future, what do you think it would be that would be different from how you were operating pre-COVID-19?
Yeah, good question. A lot of I've been asked a couple of times, about physical locations, and now that we're all working from home or remote still, how does that look going forward? And I think from our perspective, our team, we've got a really good culture, and so I don't think our physical presence or getting together each day is going anywhere. So we'll still have an office, but I think we'll do a lot more of our meetings on Zoom. We already had a good portion, but I think that will extend to more and more. And again, I think the online is only going to supplement the face-to-face side of things even more than we have been. So I think, and we're growing through a bit of a challenging time as well. So we new clients are coming on board and sort of reaching out for help, because they've seen, that they might not have even heard anything from their accountant throughout this time. And, it's so awful when you speak to someone who says, I haven't heard a peep out of your accountant, but I've been on your last 6 webinars. It's been amazing. And, that's, I feel great having sort of helped, not just our own clients, but other people as well.
Been able to reach out to others as well. And so what opportunities have you seen come out of this that may have diversified your business?
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I guess with this sort of online stuff that we've been doing, it's sort of broadened our sort of reach or even credibility in the market through other traditional. We're in an industry which is traditionally crap in terms of marketing or online or anything like that. So it's a great thing. When I hear of sort of big four accounting firms or the big mid tiers making redundancies or reducing hours to 4 days a week, and that's what people have to do instead of 5, all this sort of stuff, I go, you biddy. it's fantastic for a younger energy, more nimble businesses that could sort of pick up I guess those opportunities, and that goes for us as accountants, but all sorts of other industries where you've got big players or slow-moving people who can't keep up with the rate of change that's happening at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, and how do you keep motivated each day?
Yeah, fantastic question. And something that I've actually sort of struggled with as well over the last few weeks and months. But I've not only got my own family relying on me to sort of get us through this time, but I've got the 8 other team members that we've got at the moment and their families sort of relying on what we do. And then if you go even further than that, close to 200 clients who are looking to us for help. And so I only see we've got one choice, and that's to really step up and help. And I know that this is only a seasonal thing. The light at the end of our own tunnel is kind of 30 June is a bit of a marker that we're all focusing on, and we'll sort of step back and have a bit of a relax in July. But it's it's showing up every single day, knowing that there's hundreds of people relying on our help right now, and that's a huge motivator.
Yeah. I know for me, my focus has been on our clients and on our team, which has been a really good distraction from toilet paper and other things that are happening out there. And there is a lot of pressure. And as a business owner, it is that pressure to keep up with what are your clients' needs and how can you serve them best, but also maintaining that mental health of your team, and not only your team, yourself. So it can be quite difficult. And I could really feel that with you when you were talking, because I was like, yep, I totally get that. I understand where you're going from. So it's more that focus. I know I've got a sticky note in front of me on my computer that says focus.
Yeah.
Just reminding me each day.
Yeah. And I think often we'll overlook the small wins and that sort of thing. So it's nice to have sort of external people or your own team, having a rhythm around celebrating stuff. And we're as tough as it is at the moment, we're getting really nice things that the client is sending us. Like I get messages every now and again. They'll say, "Oh, I really appreciated Riz's help or Saki's help over the last few months." They're sending it to me, and I go, "Wow, that's so good to sort of see." And so we're sharing that stuff within the team. We've got a Slack channel.
Oh, the wins.
Dedicated. Yeah, that's it. So you've really got to do that to sort of keep positive and under so much pressure and sort of the stresses. So yeah.
That's a great idea. We've got teams. I'm thinking we should have a teams winning channel, or just to put your wins on, because I think you can focus too much on the negatives that are happening, and that's what's really helped me get through, is focusing on what are the wins, even if they're small.
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, thank you very much, Ben. That was awesome. Really good to catch up with you today, and really good insights as well, particularly about the training side, which is not what I would have expected from an accountant. That was where our conversation was going to go.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for having me on, Angela. And it's been awesome.
Excellent. And we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Education in Isolation podcast with me, Angela Connell. If you'd like access to the show notes and other resources to find subscription options, You can find us at educationinisolation.com. The Education in Isolation podcast is proud to be part of the Experts on Air podcast network.